Hi everyone, myself Rama. I am working as assistant professor in Mlritm college. Today I am going to discuss about inheritance in C++. What is inheritance? Inheritance is the most important concept of object-oriented program. This is one of the basic concepts of object-oriented programming language. In inheritance, one class is derived from another class. Here we use the real-time example parent and child relationship. Here child class is inherited from the parent class. The mechanism of deriving a class from another class is known as inheritance. One class is inherited from another class. It allows to define a class in terms of another class, which helps to create and maintain an applications. The main advantage of inheritance is it provides the opportunity to reuse the code. Here we use the parent and child class relationship. Here the child class is inherited from the parent class. So the child class, it inherits some properties from the parent class. When we use the code in parent class, that is directly inherited to the child class. Here there is no need to write the same code twice. Here the child is reuse the same code from the parent class. Okay, that is the meaning of this point. The members of the class can be public, private or protected. The class members of the class is nothing but the variables or functions which are defined inside the class are called class members. That members can be declared either in public or private or protected. These three are called access specifiers. Each and every member of the class is defined by using this public, private or protected. These three are called as access specifiers in C++. So the syntax of inheritance is, first we have to use the keyword class. Next, derived class means it is a child class, colon, then access specifier. Next, use base class. Here the base class is a parent class and the derived class is a child class. The derived class is derived from the base class. Means the child class is derived from the base class. This is the syntax for inheritance in OOPS. The default access specifier is private. Here there are three types of access specifiers already we discussed in the previous videos, that are public, private and protected. But in these three access specifiers, the default access specifier in inheritance is private. Derived class inherits all the features from a base class, including additional features of its own. Here, when we consider the parent and child relationship, the child is derived from the parent. It takes some properties from the parent class. In a real-time example, every child can contain some features of the parents, either some color or personality or characters. Okay, some features are inherited directly from the parent to the child. Next, defining base and derived class. How we can define the base class and how we can derive the derived class. Means how we can use the base class and derived classes in a program. The base class is nothing but it is a parent class. From this class, another class is derived. Base class is a class from which other classes can be inherited. It is also called as superclass or parent class. It is constant and it cannot be changed. Any number of classes can be derived from a base class. Here the base class is nothing but it is a parent class. From this class we can inherit the child classes. Okay. The base class is also called as superclass or parent class. The second one is derived class. Derived class is a class that is inherited from the base class. This derived class is also called as child class or subclass. It contains additional members apart from having base class. The derived class, it contains some own features and also it can take some features from the parent class. It is also called as subclass or child class. Okay, let us see the syntax for the base class and child class. In base class and child class, first we had to define the base class. From that base class, we can derive the child classes. First, we have to write the parent class or base class. The syntax is class, base class name, then it contains some members. Next, we have to use child class. Okay, here we are using the inheritance concept. We can access the base class concepts in the child class. Okay, when we use this syntax, this child class is nothing but derived class colon access specifier. These are nothing but public, private or protected. We can use any one that is depends on our concept. Okay. Next, base class. Here the derived class is nothing but it is a parent class and the base class is nothing but it is a child class. So here the derived class is nothing but child class, base class is nothing but parent class. Here the child is inherited from the parent class. The child class is derived from the base class. Okay. Now this is the syntax for base class and derived classes. Now here we can use three types of access specifiers: public, private and protected. Here when we observe the syntax, here we are using the access specifiers, means here we are taking the functionalities from the parent class by using the three types of access specifiers: public, private or protected. We can use any one that is depends on our requirement. When we use the public, when we base class is inherited publicly, the public members of the base class become the derived class public members. So all the public members from the base class are derived to the child class as public members. Next one is private. When a base class contains the private members, they cannot be accessed by the derived class. When the parent contains the members of private, that cannot be accessed. The class members which are declared private, that cannot be used outside of the class. Already this concept is explained in the previous classes, previous videos. So access specifies concept. Public, private, protected means public means everyone can access. Private we cannot access outside the class. Protected members can be accessed within the class and its subclasses only. So when the members are declared as private, we cannot access these members, private members in the child classes. The third one is protected. When the class members is derived in protected mode, the protected and public members of the base class becomes protected. When we use the access specifier as private, access members of private, access specifier is as private, the base class protected and public members, the base class protected and public members that are become protected in the child class. Okay, I will explain this concept with example. The first one is base class. Here the base class contains one variable public and y variable as protected, z variable is declared as private. Here three variables are declared using three different access specifiers. Int x is a public, int y is declared as protected and int z is declared as private. Here the private variables or members cannot be accessed outside the class. Next, here by using this base class, I derived three different child classes. This is the child class 1. Child class 1, the name is derived one. Here the base class is derived as public mode. Here the access specifier is public mode. When we inherit the base class members as publicly into derived class, the public should be public, protected variable should be protected and private variables cannot be accessed. In anywhere we cannot access private members. Okay, the private members cannot be accessed outside the class. This is the first child class. Here the child 1, the derived class 1, it inherits the base class, means parent class, as public mode. Public mode, in public mode, we are inheriting the parent class to the child class. Here the integer x is a public, it is becomes public in child class. The protected int y, it becomes protected in child class, but we cannot access the private variable. Next, let us see the second. This is the child derived to. It is nothing but second child. Here base is a parent. Now here the parent is inherited to the child in a protected mode. In a protected mode. So when we inherit the parent in a protected mode, the public x should become protected and y public it becomes protected, and z private variable cannot be accessed. We cannot access private. Okay, already we know this point. Next, here the public and protected, all these members should be protected when we inherit the parent as protected. When we inherit the parent as public, there is no change in public and protected. The public becomes public, protected becomes protected, z cannot be accessed. But when we inherit it in a protected mode, this public should be a protected and protected variable should be protected only. All the public and protected members becomes protected because here we are using the access specifier as protected. We are inheriting the parent class members in a protected mode. So all the public members and protected members of the base class are becomes protected in child class. Next, third point. Now here this is the child class. The child class name is derived 3 and the parent class name is base. Here we are inheriting the base class concepts in a child class in a private mode. In a private mode. When we inherit the base class in a private mode, all the public and protected should be private only. The public int x becomes private and protected y becomes private. So when we use the access specifier as private, all the members of the base class becomes private. As it is, the private variables cannot be accessed outside the class. Now, it is an explanation for public, private and derived members in the base class and how we can access in child classes. Okay, this is the very important. How when we inherit the concepts from parent to child, how the public members inherited into the child classes and how private members can be inherited into the child classes. That is depends on the access specifiers. So here the access specifier is compulsory. So based on this access specifiers, the parent class members should be converted into respective modes. Now let us see the types of inheritance. There are 5 types of inheritance. First one, single inheritance. Second one, multi-level. Third one, multiple inheritance. Fourth one, hierarchical. And fifth one, hybrid inheritance. Let us see one by one with example programs. The first one, single inheritance. Single means 1. Here, the base class is 1 and the child class is 1. In single inheritance, one class is derived from another class. Here, the parent and child should be 1 and 1. It represents a form of inheritance where there is only one base class and a one derived class. Okay. So when we use the one base class and one derived class, one parent and one child, then it is called as single inheritance. One child class is derived from one parent class. Here class A is parent class and class B is child class. Here the one child class is derived from one parent class. Let us see the syntax. First we had to define or declare class A, parent class, then declare child class. Here B is a child class and A is a parent class. Here the A class is inherited in a public mode. Let us see the example. I will explain this single inheritance with example. So first I declared class student. Now student is a parent class or base class. Now it contains one variable integer roll number and one string variable name. These two are protected members. Next, I declared two methods, get details and show details. These two are in public mode. So these two variables, roll number and name, are declared in protected, access specifier protected, and two methods, get details and show details. These two methods are declared by using the public access specifiers. Public means we can access in the child class very easily. Okay, but these protected members, okay, when we inherit the parent class in a public mode, the protected should be protected. Same. Next, here it is a child class. Now the child class name is result. Now the child class result, it is inherited from the students. So when we use the inheritance concept, we should use colon between the child class and parent class. Class result is a child class. It is inherited from the parent class student in a public mode. Now this child class also, it contains variables and methods, private, float marks. Here the marks variable, it is declared in private mode, and there are two methods, get marks and show result. These two are in public mode. So first we have to explain the base class, that is student, and next we have to define or explain derived class, child class, that is result. Here the result is inherited from the parent class student. Now the student contains two variables and two methods. Child is also contains two methods and one variable. Next we have to use the main function. Now when we use the inheritance concept, inheritance means it contains more than one child, more than one classes. But in main class, we had to declare the object always for the child class. In inheritance, always the object is created to the child class only. Because by using this child class object, we can access the members or methods from the parent class. Because here there is a inheritance relationship between the parent and child classes. So we had to create object for the child class. The child class name is result and the object name is R. Here the object is R. By using this object, we can access the methods and variables from the parent class and child class. First, R get details. R dot get details. The R dot get details, the student, it contains two methods. One is get details and the second one is show details. Next, result, it contains two methods. One is get marks and the second one is show result. So by using this object R, we are calling the method get details. For the control, directly it goes to get details. Now here we are reading the input values, roll number and name. Enter roll number and enter name. By using this get details method, we are reading the roll number and name of the student. Next, we are calling the get marks. It directly goes to get marks method from the child class. By using the same object, we are calling the parent class method as well as we are calling the get marks, because the child result, it is inherited from the parent. That's why we are able to access the methods from parent as well as child class. Next, when we call the get marks method, here cout enter marks, it reads the marks value. So in get details, we are reading roll number and name. By using this get method, we are reading the marks also. So 3 input values are read by using this 2 methods. Next, execute cout student details, it prints the details. So r dot show result, it directly calls the show result method. The control directly goes to the child class and it executes the show result method. But in this show result method, we are calling the one more function, that is show details. Where it is present? It is present in the student. Means it is a parent class method. So when we call the show result, first it executes the show details method. By using this object r dot show result, the control directly goes to the show result method. In that we are calling the parent class method, that is show details. It directly goes to the show result, show details, and it executes, it prints roll number and name. For example, here roll number is 111 and the name is Sai. Directly these 2 values printed on the monitor. Next, after the execution, directly control goes to the previous location and here cout print marks. So whatever we have written, read the marks, for example 87 marks, okay, that are printed on the monitor. So here we can call the show details directly by using the R object also. But here I am calling the parent class method by from the child class method. Means we are inheriting the properties from parent to child. Okay. Now we can access this show details because it is a method of parent. When we use the inheritance concept, means we are giving the relationship between the parent and child. Based on that relationship only, we are accessing the parent class method in the child class. So here only one parent class and one child class. That's why this type of inheritance is called as single inheritance. So always we had to create the object for child class only. Remember this point. Now it is an example for single inheritance. Let us see the output. So enter roll number, enter marks. The roll number is 111, name is Sai and marks is 95. By using show result, we are printing the details on the monitor. Now, the second one is multi-level inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, a class is derived, a child class is derived from another child class. In a real-time example, the parent is derived from grandparent and the child is derived from parent class. Here, when we observe this grandparent class, class A, there are parent is a child class B and C is a child class for B class. Now here, let us see the example syntax. A is a parent class, it is a parent class, and B is a child class. Now this child is derived from this parent class A. Next, when we consider the third one, here C is a child class and B is a another child class. One child class is derived from another child class. A derived class is created from another derived class is called multi-level inheritance. Here the A is a grandparent. This parent class B is a child for class A. Now, when we consider class A and class B, A is parent and B is child. But when we consider B and C, now C is derived from the be child class. One child class is derived from another child class is called multi-level inheritance. Let us see the example. Here the first class is a base class. The base class name is student. It is a base class, student. Now it contains two protected members, roll number and name, and the two methods, public get details and show details. These two are declared as public. Next, the second class, test. It is derived from parent class, student. Now it is a test. It is derived from student. Now this test class contains two variables, marks 1 and marks 2, and two variables public. Here, when we observe in single inheritance and this example, the members are declared as protected and the methods are declared as publics. So, public means that methods can be accessed in the child classes very easily. The protected members can be accessed within the class and its subclasses. But when we use the private, when we use the access specifier private, for example, one variable is declared in a private int x. This x private members cannot be accessed in the child classes. This variable x can be used within the same class only. So, there is no use of this x variable in the child classes. So, that's why we are not using private in these two examples. So, I declared only protected and public. So, variables are declared as protected and methods are declared as public only. But when we declare the variable private, you can declare the variables as private also, but we cannot access in the child classes. Next, here declare one more child class, that is result. So, this result, it is a child class derived from the test class. Now, this test is derived from the student class. So, when we observe these two, student is a parent and test is a child class. Next, when we observe these two, result is a child, it is derived from another child class. This is called multi-level inheritance. Here, get details and show details are the methods of student. There are two, get details and show details. And in test class, there are two methods, get marks and show marks. Get marks and show marks. These two are also declared as public only. Means we can access in the child classes. Now this result, it contains one private variable total. So here it is a variable total. It can be used in the same class, but we cannot access this total in another child classes because there is no child class for the test. Okay, even though we cannot access this total variable outside of this result class because it is declared as private. So now it contains two methods, total and show result. There are two methods, but in any type of inheritance, always the object is created only for the child class. So when we observe in these three classes, student, test and result, the result is the last child class. So we can create the object for result. So result, RES, it is an object. By using the object, this object, we can call the methods from the result, we can call the methods from test, and also we can call the methods from student, because this child result is derived from test class, the test is derived from student class. So by using the object of the result, we can access the methods from these three classes, but we cannot access the variable total because it is declared as private. So result dot get details. Now get details is a method from the student class. Result dot get details means it directly goes to student class and it executes the get details method. By using this method, we can read the roll number and name input values. Next, by using this object RES, we can call the method get marks. Get marks is the method, okay, which is defined in the test class. So by using this method, we can read the 2 subject marks. Next, we are calling the total. So by using these marks, we can calculate the total here. So how we can access marks 1 and marks 2? These two are not declared in this class, but we can access these two values from the test class. Now the test class, it contains two variables, marks 1 and marks 2. These two values are, we are reading from the keyboard by using the get marks method. We are calling this get marks method by using the object result. Result is an object for the class result. RES is an object for the result class. This result is derived from the test class. Now this test class, it contains two variables, marks 1 and marks 2. Here what is inheritance concept? We can take the sum of the properties from the parent class. Sometimes we can take all the properties from the parent class also, but here we are taking two values, marks 1 and marks 2. These two are taken directly from the test class to result class, because there is a inheritance relationship between the two classes, result and test classes. So whatever we entered, marks 1 and marks 2, that two values are calculated as total. Next, that value is copied into the variable total. Next, student result. Here we have to print the values. RES dot show result. Show result is a method which is present in the result class. Now it directly control goes to this method, and in this method we are calling the two methods. One is show details and show marks. The show details is a method from the class student, means it directly goes to the student class. In that, here it calls the show details method. It prints the name and roll number. Next, it calls the show marks method. It is present in the test class. It directly goes to the show marks and it prints the marks, subject 1 marks and subject 2 marks. Next, it prints the value which is calculated here. So here there are 3 classes in this example, but object is created only for the child class. RES is an object for the result class. By using this object, we are accessing the methods from the test class, and also we are accessing the methods from the student class. So this marks 1 and marks 2, these two are declared in the test class, that are directly taken from the test class to result class. This is called as inheritance concept. One class is derived from another child class is called as multi-level inheritance. Now it is an output. Next, go to third one, multiple inheritance. Multiple means more than one. One child is derived from more than one parent classes. Here base class 1, base class 2 and this one is derived class. This derived class is derived or inherited from the 2 base classes. So you can use more than one base class also. In multiple inheritance, a class can be inherited from more than one classes. Means more than one classes means the more than one parent classes and only one child class. One subclass is derived from more than one superclasses. These are called superclasses or parent classes. So there is only one child class. It is inherited from more than one. There are multiple parent classes, but the child class is only one. This is the syntax. First we had to declare class A base class 1, next base class 2. So from these base 2 base classes, we are deriving the class C. It is a child class from A and B. Here these two are parent classes. C is a child class. This one child class is derived from 2 parent class. You can use more than one, more than 2. Okay. So there are, we can use 3 classes, 4 classes. You can use multiple base classes. But the child class is only 1. This is called as multiple inheritance. Here the which one is child class? Class G is child class. So we can create the object only for child class only. Let us see the example. Here also I am taking the same example, student information only. So first class student information. it is a base class 1. Now it contains 2 variables and 2 methods, display information, get information. Here we are taking 2 variables, student ID and student name. Next one is test score. It is also a base class 2. Now there is no relationship between student information and test scores. These two are individual base classes. Now it contains 2 variables, subject 1 and subject 2, and 2 methods, get score and display score. Now here class result. Now it is a child class. It is derived from 2 base classes. One is student information and the second one is test scores. So one child class is derived from 2 base classes. This is called as multiple inheritance. Here the object is created only for the child class, that is for result class. Here the result, it contains 2 variables and 2 methods. One is calculate result and display result. So when we observe the student information base class 1, it contains get information and display information. By using this method, we can read the student name and student ID. By using the display information, we can print the values, student name and student ID. Next, in test score, get scores and display score. Here we can read the marks of subject 1 and subject 2. Okay, score marks of subject 1 and subject. By using this method, we are reading the 2 subject marks. By using this method, we are displaying the values. Next, in the result class, we are calculating the total and percentage. Here, we can calculate the total by taking the values of subject 1 and subject 2 marks. These 2 marks are taken from the get score method. So this method, by using this method, we can read the 2 subject marks. That 2 subject marks, for example, this is 85 and 90. These 2 values are added here, 85 and 90. So here there is a inheritance relationship. So we are taking the values, test score values, subject 1 and subject 2 values from this test score class. Okay. So here this result is, it is inherited from the test score also. Okay. By using this relationship, we are taking the 2 subject marks from the test scores and we are calculating the total and calculating the percentage. By using the display result, okay, we can display the student information and we can display the subject 1, subject 2 marks. Okay. Next, here we can print the total marks and percentage. So when we come to main function, here the object is created for result class. So what is the object? Here the object name is student. So student got dot get information. It directly goes to student information. Here get information is there in student information base class. Okay. So when we call this get information method by using the object, the directly control goes to this method and here we can read the 2 values, name and student ID. Next, get score. So we are calling the get score method by using the same object student. It directly goes to the test scores and control goes to get scores and here it can we can read the 2 subject values. So after that, reading the student information and subject marks, then go to calculate result. Okay, this method, it is present in the result class. So directly it goes to calculate result. It calculates the total and percentage. Next, we have to display. So call the display result. So when we call the display result, it directly goes to this method. But in this method, we are calling the display information and display close. Display information, it is present in the student information class and it is present in the test scores class. Display information means it directly goes to this method and it prints the name and student ID. Next, it calls the display scores. it goes to display course method. It prints the subject 1 and subject 2 marks. Next, it prints the total and percentage. Now, this is the output. Okay, finally, we will get this type of output. Now, here, one child is derived from one or more parent classes. So, minimum there are 2 base classes. 2 base classes. One child is derived from more than 2 base classes. Here the minimum number of base classes are 2. So we can use 3, 4, like that you can use multiple base classes. Okay, this is called multiple inheritance. Next, let us see the fourth one, hierarchical inheritance. In hierarchical inheritance, more than one subclass is derived from a single base class. So here these are the child classes, child 1 and child 2. These two are inherited from single parent. So what is multiple? There is only one child class, more than one parent class. But in hierarchical inheritance, only one parent, there are multiple child classes. Okay. So, more than one child is derived from a single parent, then it is called as hierarchical inheritance. Here also we use the same concept. First we have to declare the child class, parent class A. From that parent class derive first child class B, next derive second child class C. Like that you can declare class D, class E, class F, class G, like that. You can use any number of child classes. But here the parent is single, there are more than one child classes. When we consider only this part, only one parent and more than one child. When we consider this one, there is only one parent, there are multiple child classes. This is the syntax. So here B and C, these two classes are derived from the same base class. By observing the figure, we can easily frame the syntaxes. Let us see the example. First one, student. Same variables and same methods are used here. The method name is different, but the concept is same. There are two variables, name and roll number. Next, read values. Next, display student details. There are two methods in the student class. Now it is a one parent. Next, test is a child class. It is derived from student. Next, sports is a child class. It is derived from student. The parent class is student. Test is one child class and sports is one more child class. So these two are derived from the single parent class. Now student contains get student and display student method. Here test contains get input marks and display marks. In sports, input score and display score. There are two methods in the each class. Next here, how many objects are required in this program? Let us see. So there are how many child classes are there? There are two child classes. So we have to create two objects, object 1 and object 2. So in inheritance concept, we had to create object only for the child classes only. But in hierarchical inheritance, there are two child classes. So we have to create two objects. By using this object, we can access the members from the students. By using this object also, we can access the members from the students. The student properties can be inherited to test class as well as sports class. So test object is T, sports object is S. T dot input student details, we can read the student details by using this method, and read input marks by using object T, we are reading the student details and marks. Next, by using the sports object S, we are reading the student details and we are reading the input score. By using object T and object S, we can display the values also. Let us see the output. Enter student details by using T. Test object, we are calling the input student. Enter name and roll number. These two values are read by this method. Next, read marks. Enter marks 93. So, these values are read by using the object T. Next, enter sports student details. Now, we can take the values of the student by using the object S. Now, this is an object, S is an object for sports class. So, by using the same different object, we are calling the same function. Name Ravi, roll number 222, and the score is 18. Now, these three values are taken by the object T. These values are taken by the object S. Next, display details. By using T object, we can display the details. So, T object values are Sai 111993. So, these are the values. Next, sports student details are. Now, these three values are taken by the scores. So, here, these are the student details, test details, and these are the sports details. There are two different objects. By using these two different objects, we are reading the two different types of values, and also we are printing the same values in the output by using the same objects. It is called as hierarchical inheritance. So, if you observe if we know this figure perfectly, we can easily write the syntax and we can easily frame the program also. Okay. In types of inheritance, these figures are very, very important. The last one is hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance is implemented by combining more than one type of inheritance. When we combine 2 or 3 types of inheritance, then we can get the hybrid inheritance. For example, when we consider this, here there are 2 types of inheritances are combined here. When we have multiple inheritance, B, C and D. So, when we observe these 3 classes, it is an example for multiple inheritance. Multiple means one child class, more than one parent class. Next, when we observe A, B, D, this one, it is a multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. Multi-level means one child is derived from another child class. D is derived from B, B is derived from A. So, here, now this figure, it contains the, it combines the 2 types of inheritance, multiple inheritance and multi-level inheritance. When we combine the 2 or 3 types of inheritance, then it is called as hybrid inheritance. Okay, based on this we can frame the syntax. First, here the parent class is A. From parent, there are two classes are derived, class B and class C. Class B is derived from parent A and class C is one more, here class A is a parent class. Now class B is derived from class A. Here class C is a separate parent. It is an individual class. Now this from B and C, one child class is derived, that is D. So here A is a parent class. From parent A, B is derived. Here C is also one separate parent. Now this is parent 2. For example, just assume this is parent 1. Now this D is derived from B and C. This child D is derived from B and C. So based on this figure, we can write the syntax. By using this syntax, we can easily write the program. We can easily frame the program. So take 2, 3 variables and 2, 3 methods from each class. So here we can access the class A members in class B members into class D. So class D can access the properties from class B and class C, but here the class C, it cannot access the members from the class A, because here there is no relationship between the class A and class C. These two are individual parent classes. Class A is inherited into class B. Class C is inherited to class D. So first student, now it contains two variables and two methods. Next test student, here the test is derived from the student. Parent, student is a parent, test is a child. It contains two methods. Next one is sports, it is a separate individual class. Next result, it is derived from test and sports. Now it is result. It is derived from test class and sports. So when we consider this example, here a result is a child class. These two are parent. Next, when we consider the test, it is derived from student. Now it is a figure for this example. Okay, student derived to test. Now sports is a separate class. From these two classes, we are creating one more child class, that is result. Now, tell me how many objects are created in this program. Yeah, the objects are created for child class only. That is for result class. Only one object is created. By using this object, we can call the methods. Here we are calling the input all details. It directly goes to this method. But here we are calling the three methods. Input student information, it is from student class. Academic information, it is from test class. Sports information, it is from sports class. So academic information from test class. Sports information from sports. Next, student input information from student class. Okay, here we are reading this one. We can display the details by calling these three methods. So this result child class, it can access the values from the sports class, test class and student class, because it is a child class for the test and sports class, but this test is a child class for student class. So this test, it can access the properties from the above three classes. So these three methods are from three different classes. All these methods are accessed by using the single object, that is result. So when we go through this example, we can easily understand what is hybrid inheritance. You can use any combination of the inheritance. We will get the hybrid inheritance. But is clear? Now it is an output. Now the last topic is constructors and destructors in inheritance. We can use the constructors and destructors concepts in inheritance also. What is the use of constructor? The constructor destructors concepts are already discussed in the previous videos. So here first one is a parent class. It is a base class. Now child, it is a derived class. Parent and a child. So now it is a constructor. This one is destructor. What is the difference between constructor and destructor? Constructor, it can be used to initialize the object. Destructor, it can be used to delete the memory of the objects. So here we are using the constructors and destructors in the parent class as well as in child classes. In main function, the object is always created for the child class only. The object is created for child. So when the object is created, automatically it executes the constructor. So the object is related to the child class. As per this, first it executes the child class constructor. But here, when the control goes to the child class constructor, first it verifies the parent class constructor, whether it is present or not. Because the child is derived from the parent. Always when we use the constructors in a inheritance concept, the parent class constructor should be executed first. That's why here in output we are getting the first statement, that is parent class constructor. But here we are not calling the parent class constructor. Whenever we create the object to the child class, first the control goes to the child class constructor, but the child class constructor not executed, first it verify the parent class constructor. Directly the control goes to the parent class constructor, first it execute parent class constructor statements, after that it comes to the child class constructor. After the execution of the constructors, it execute the destructors. But the destructors are executed in reverse order. First child class constructor is executed, then parent class constructor is executed. But first child class destructor is executed, then parent class constructor will be executed. Now it is in the reverse of constructor. This is the first parent class constructor. This is child class constructor. The constructors are executed from first parent, then child. But these destructors are executed in reverse order. First child class destructor is executed, then control execute the child class, parent class destructor. Always it is an opposite. So whenever we create the object to the child class, first it execute the parent class constructor only, then it goes to the child class constructor. But after the execution of, when we close the program, the destructors will be executed. First child class destructor is executed, then it execute the parent class destructor. These are the constructors and destructors concept in inheritance. These are the references. Thank you.